Okay, Sean. So I'm going to jump over to chapter 10 here. We'll move forward.
Okay,
So,
cool.
chapter 10, verse 1. And it came to pass when I heard the voice pronouncing such words to me that I looked this way and that. And behold, there was no breath of man. And my spirit was amazed, and my soul fled from me. And I became like a stone and fell face down upon the earth, for there was no longer strength in me to stand up on the earth. And while I was still facing down on the ground, I heard the voice speaking. Go, Jael, of the same name, through the meditation of my ineffable name, consecrate this man for me, and strengthen him against his trembling. The angel he sent to me in the likeness of a man came, and he took me by my right hand and stood me up on my feet. And he said to me, Stand up, Abraham, friend of God, who has loved you. Let human trembling not enfold you. For lo, I am sent to you to strengthen you and to bless you in the name of God, creator of heavenly and earthly things, who has loved you. Be bold and hasten to him. I am Joel, and I was called so by him who causes those with me on the seventh expanse, on the firmament, to shake, a power through the medium of his ineffable name in me. I am the one who has been charged according to his commandment to restrain the threats of the living creatures of the cherubim against one another. And I teach those who carry the song through the medium of man's night of the seventh hour. I am appointed to hold the Leviathan, because through me is subjugated the attack and menace of every reptile. I am ordered to loosen Hades and to destroy those who wondered at the dead. I am the one who ordered your father's house to be burned with him, for he honored the dead. I am sent to you now to bless you and the land which he whom you have called the Eternal One has prepared for you. For your sake I have indicated the way of the land. Stand up, Abraham, go boldly, be very joyful and rejoice. And I also rejoice with you, for a venerable honor has been prepared for you by the Eternal One. Go, complete the sacrifice of the command. Behold, I am assigned to be with you and with the generation which is predestined to be born from you. And with me, Michael blesses you forever. Be bold and go.
Man, there's so much in there. So much fun stuff. We get a wild introduction to this angel, Joel, or Joel. It's kind of hard to say. No wonder he calls his name ineffable, right?
Yeah.
But this angel himself, Ken, didn't you have a theory about who this angel is?
Well, I mean, it's fascinating when you start to look into all the angels that show up in these extra biblical books like Enoch here and Jubilees, as well as in this one. They all have roles, right, Sean? And that's kind of a consistent theme that we've noticed throughout these extra biblical books is that angels come as Yahweh's agent, his mouthpiece, right? But on top of that, they were created to do things, right? And
Yeah.
so it appears that there was this angel whose name is Jael. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but he has several different things that he's in charge of. And in chapter 10, starting with verse 10, it says that he's appointed to hold Leviathan, which is a fascinating thing. For those of you who haven't really heard too much on the Leviathan and Behemoth, Sean and I actually had an episode on the road to rescue over at the Parable of the Vineyard not too long ago, where we discussed Leviathan and Behemoth and kind of the implications of these two beasts, and what their purpose of being created is, and how it has kind of an eschatological ramification on the day of the Lord. So for those of you who aren't familiar with it, maybe you can go check that out. And here's the link to the episode, or the title of the episode. But it appears that John, this angel here, Joel, he was appointed to hold Leviathan. So he's somehow restraining this Leviathan, which is really fascinating, eh?
That's right. He's holding Leviathan, and he's also in charge of loosening Hades, which that seems like a big statement.
Very big. I mean, where do we see that in Revelation, Sean, where an angel goes to the bottomless pit and opens up the pit?
Yeah, man, that's Revelation 9, verse 1.
It's fascinating because we're not told the name of the angel. We just know there is an angel who has a key to that specific place, who unlocks it, and
Yeah, and then we got these 200 million things come out with Apollyon. So that's like, man, this is big to me, that this angel, that any text would claim responsibility for, now whether people believe this or not, this is the only text I've ever seen that claims what it's claiming, and that would make sense of Revelation 9:1.
Yeah.
And isn't there a passage in 2 Thessalonians 2:8 or 2:9 where it talks about the restrainer
Yeah. Paul's actually, trying to bring to memory his audience about how
The lawless one's
the
revealed
lawless
when
one, yeah, he's
let's
revealed, right?
go.
And
And
until
that's
the
where
restrainer lets go, right? And
that's
we're
right.
told here in this book that the restrainer um, is this guy.
And if you haven't already seen here on Kingdom of Context, one of my principal concepts here for my channel is that I've created a context tree. And so on this context tree are several different branches that are major themes repeated and spoken all throughout the scriptures and explained all throughout the scriptures. One of those branches is the branch of Apollyon. And I've already done a video for that branch, and I'll flash here up on the screen for you. But this idea is called Apollyon, is the name of the video itself. You're welcome to go check that out. And I break down Revelation about Revelation 9:1 and Revelation 17:8, where it explains to us who Apollyon is. And I go through all throughout the scriptures to explain that. So you're welcome to check that out when you have a chance. But it's very possible, Ken, that this moment here is this angel that let loose Apollyon. And then at the end of days, it's 42 months before the return of Yeshua.
Yeah, well, it's very fascinating, Sean, because I mean, as you referred to Second Thessalonians there, historically, I think the theory for that, who the restrainer is, has kind of been attributed to Michael, right?
Yeah.
And there hasn't been much to go off of other than we know that in Enoch, Michael is over the nations, right? And over the favorable nations, I think it's referred to as. So this is referring to restrainer in the sense of, his title of holding the key, loosening Hades, and then the lawless one that Paul talks about in Second Thessalonians comes, right, and is revealed. So my opinion, yeah, I think that this is who the restrainer is. This angel Joel is the one contextually who Paul's referring to in Second Thessalonians instead of Michael.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, this would be fascinating if this was it. This would be, and it would make so much sense because of the study that we did on Leviathan as well, and everything, how that plays out at the end of days when the Messiah returns. Yeah. Also in verse 7 and 8, actually, where it talks about, Joel is saying that I was called so by him who causes those with me on the seventh firmament to shake.
Yeah.
So as we've discussed in previous episodes of Honor of Kings, especially when we're going through the book of Enoch and the first few episodes, we delved into the creation model that's explained in Genesis 1, that's repeated in the book of Enoch, all throughout the scriptures, actually. And it's not a ball and space model. It's a completely different model than the heliocentric model that was taught to us as kids. This is a model in the scriptures that is described as an enclosed dome, if you will, a firmament-like dome. And the actual structure of the dome is what the Father calls the firmament and gives it the name heaven in Genesis 1, verses 6-8. And other passages like Deuteronomy 10:14 and books of Enoch and many other places, Psalms, there's a passage that refer to multiple layers of this dome above us. And this here, we have a seventh layer being spoken about.
Yeah, that's right, Sean. And in Jubilees 2, verse 2, it actually says that on day number 1, specifically, that Yahweh created the heavens above and the earth, and that's plural. And so,
and this was before he created on day number 2 the big firmament that's directly over our head. So we're talking about the layers above it, right?
That's correct. Yeah. So it just once again kind of confirms that there are layers. According to what I've studied, there's 7 of them, and he's on the top, and that's where the Most High is, right? Him being the Most High, he literally is the Most High on the top, on the 7th firmament.
And that would make sense why this angel has so much responsibility if he's one of those that gets to hang out on the top layer with the Father.
That's right.
Because this guy looks to be in charge of a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So, Sean, if we move forward to also verse 9 here, it says that he restrains the threats of the living creatures of the cherubim against one another. And that is interesting because we're going to find as we go through this book, it won't be in this episode, but in either next episode or a following episode, we're going to see that there's an instance here where the holy cherubim have to be kind of refereed by him. And that's one of his qualities is that he's capable of kind of getting in between and making sure that they don't create chaos between the two of them because they're so jealous for Yahweh.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah, talking about fanboys. But yeah, absolutely. That's and also just the phrase right after that where he says he teaches those who carry the song through the medium of man's night of the 7th hour. So what song and what 7th hour? Is that the stuff that's referred to in was it Esdras? Second Esdras?
Yeah, Second Ezra's, I think, talks about that.
Breaks it down in the 12 different hours of mankind.
Yeah.
And so, and what is this song? Is this the song that we see in Revelation that's taught to the resurrected saints?
Yeah, and there's a song that we're going to see in this very book too once we get to
That's
it. I don't
right.
know if it's the same song, but he teaches Abraham a song. And he says, you're going to have to learn this song if you want to come up to this kind of level of the firmament, because we're all singing kind of a song kind of similar to this. So
You
start learning.
You got to learn what the music. That's great.